Hey folks, welcome to the Smoking Tire Podcast. This episode is brought to you by HelloFresh. What is HelloFresh? It sends you pre-measured, pre-portioned ingredients and mouth-watering seasonal recipes delivered right to your door. HelloFresh lets you skip those trips to the grocery store, makes home cooking easy, fun, and affordable. That's why it's America's #1 meal kit. Listen, they sent me some food. Straight up, they sent me food. And I have tried other meal kits. I tried the one that's like a color and then an item of clothing.
Me too.
And it was all right. This one, here's what I really liked about it. The bags came like already like laid out properly, right? The recipes are super simple, and they were like, you can make this in 30 minutes from nothing, right? And I actually was able to. I work long days. I like cooking. I don't like the time it takes me to go to the store, although I do like fresh ingredients, and I don't like the waste that comes from cooking for two people.
Right.
There's almost always waste, either in the forms of like leftovers I don't really want, or in the form of like throwing out things that like a restaurant might find other uses for. You know what I mean? It just feels wasteful. HelloFresh sent me the exact correct amount of things to make dinner for two people. It was super money. I was really shocked at how good it was. And I'm supposed to read bullet points here, but like that was my honest, true story about HelloFresh.
I've been using it for 3 weeks because someone gave it to me as a gift.
Oh, really?
And it's honestly
really
good.
It's really
really
good.
tasty. It feels like I'm making fancy stuff. And for me, I like cooking, but I don't like the stress of looking up the right recipe and then buying the stuff. Because I'm like, well, which one of these 50 websites has the right,
chicken curry or whatever. Yeah.
So they just do that for me, and I'm like learning to cook without the other stress.
Yeah, and I really like cooking, but I find that when I'm working hard and I'm tired, I default to like 5 or 6 things that I make. You know what I mean? If I'm just going to the grocery store myself, it's like, is it going to be meatloaf? Is it going to be pasta? Is it going to be chicken? You know what I mean? It's like the defaults. So there's so many recipes to choose from at HelloFresh that you can literally like learn new cooking without really having to go through the work of learning new cooking.
Yes.
You know what I mean? It's kind of nice, right? You cut down your grocery bills by saving up to 40% instead of shopping at your local store. Actually, we did the math. It was actually quite affordable. They've got the flexibility you need with customizable orders every week, and et cetera, et cetera. Both Zack and I were about it. We were both super about it. The food was great. There was no extra waste. Even the packaging that was disposable was like recyclable and fairly eco-friendly. It wasn't like a ton of paper and packaging. It was really good. And the vegetables and the produce was indeed, as they say, fresh. Go to HelloFresh.com/SmokingTire10. Smoking Tire and the number 10, right? HelloFresh.com/SmokingTire10, and then use code SmokingTire10 for 10 free meals once you're there, including free shipping, right? HelloFresh.com/SmokingTire10, code SmokingTire10 for 10 free meals, including free shipping. America's #1 meal kit. And I know why, because it's dank. We are also brought to you by California's #1 ganja company, Tradecraft Farms. I love reading these because I don't have to read them. I just say them. Went down for the re-up the other day. 4 ounces of fire sitting at the shop right now is delightful. And when I say 4 ounces of fire, I mean that literally. You cannot just follow Tradecraft Farms because you should follow @fire on Instagram. I'm not kidding.
Really?
Yeah, they own the brand Fire. Because this is the smartest thing they could do. They're saying they cannot keep it on the shelves because I'm like, is Fire in stock right now? And they're like, there's no such thing as stock. Fire is like GT3 Tourings. They're sold before they get to the showrooms. They got the 24 karat gold joints. They got the white gold joints. They have that super tulip crazy joint thing. And the Fire packaging I really like. And they have the Fire sticks, which are like the super goo. It's like the super goo pens. Like not the regular pens.
Concentrate over them?
Yeah, it's like the regular pens are like, 65%. These are like 90. It's a super goo. So at Tradecraft_Farms, and of course at Fire, because we only blaze fire here. And it's just, frankly, it's a miracle of modern science. It's a miracle of progressivism that I can do this at all as had, and it is a miracle of creative packaging. Frankly, because the ganja industry is leading consumer packaged goods in creative paper folding and packaging right now. If you want to go to take a master class in how to package a consumer product, just go into a Tradecraft Farms dispensary or another. It's amazing.
That's true. They're very creative.
They're they're so good at boxing. It's cool. Amazing. So there are people. Go follow them. Send them a message on Instagram saying the Smoking Tire sent you at Tradecraft Farms at Tradecraft_Farms at Fire, the official ganja of the Smoking Tire podcast. And of course, God forbid, you find yourself on the side of the road, you got to deal with the police. Off the Record is what you need. offtherecord.com/TST. They will fight your traffic ticket in any state in the union. They cover over 90% of the population of the United States. You should never, ever, ever plead guilty to a traffic infraction, and you should never just go to court on your own without being prepared. Use Off the Record. Off the Record will set you up with a qualified attorney in your area or the area where you got the ticket, and they will send someone to court on your behalf to fight that ticket, get those points off your record, and remove you from the law enforcement insurance ecosystem scam that you just found yourself in because you were not paying attention to your speedometer for a few seconds on an unfamiliar road. I've been there, folks. I know how it feels. Always fight your tickets by going to offtherecord.com/TST or using code TST10 on the Off the Record app. That'll get you 10% off all your legal services at Off the Record for 3 years. Okay, it'll do it for a really long time. So download that app, get that account, make it now. That way, when you're on the side of the road with the cops and there's lights flashing in your eyes, you're not scared. You're going to be having a little chuckle to yourself because you're going to go, I'm going to get to email Matt Farah and tell him that Off the Record worked for me when I get out of this ticket scot-free. That's what they do. offtherecord.com/TST or code TST10 on the Off the Record app for iOS and Android. Always fight your tickets, folks. Alrighty, folks, on this episode of the podcast, it's number 600. What are we doing to commemorate our 600th episode? Fuck all. Just like we did to commemorate our 500th, 400th, 300th, 200th, and 100th episodes. We ain't doing shit. Zack and I are in the studio bullshitting about the Cayman GT4. We had to go in and mobbed on very, very hard. We're talking about the Mazda 3. We are talking about Tesla taking Bitcoin and all the other things that Tesla is completely full of shit about this week, and taking your questions. It's me and Zack, the crew show, number 600. It's the Smoking Tire Podcast. Hello. Hey, folks. Hi. Happy Wednesday. It's Wednesday. Is it Tuesday or Wednesday? What fucking day? It's Wednesday, right? I think it's Wednesday.
I don't actually know.
What's the fucking difference anymore? What day it is? I mean, really, it doesn't matter. All that matters for us is it's not Sunday. It's the only day that matters. It's the day you don't want to be in the canyons?
That's right.
Wait, so I've sat over here so it's easier to talk to you, and yet I've ended up sitting that way. Why are both my seats on the table wrong? Have I chosen...
Because the curve of the wood over there?
Have I chosen, like, poorly? But I feel like we chose the right table, and yet somehow I end up sitting sideways for all of our shows.
Well, I mean, I'd have to move everything over there.
No, I know. I think it's because it's mainly you design a studio to talk to a guest.
Right.
And yet.
Here we are.
And yet that was in 2019.
Well, we also forgot that 50% of our shows are cruise shows.
I don't think we had discovered that development at the time either. But here we are. And it looks like I'll just be side saddling. I mean, it is like I'm like lounging kind of like this. It's okay. It's probably not good for my back.
It's very late night with the elbow.
Santo, my physical therapist, Santo, will not be happy. Like, look, you bought that chair, that super ergonomic chair, and then you sat on it fucking sideways for 90 minutes. What's wrong with you?
That's a good point.
It's a good point. Don't sit sideways in chairs. It's bad for your back, right? You know what we learned today? 2 chairs can look almost identical and be wildly different in scope and support.
Yeah. Feel.
Zack and I were driving the Corolla Hatchback this morning. Do you have a visual for the Corolla Hatchback?
I sure do.
Yeah. No, that's a sedan. No, the hatchback. I actually requested the Corolla Hatchback. I had forgotten about it because it's a Corolla Hatchback. And then I saw my friend Amy Shackelford, who does like Car People PR, and she has like an R8. She's a true car person, and she has one of those Corolla hatchbacks, and she was like raving about this fucking thing. She has the blue, that blue that everyone's, which I think was maybe the launch color in 2019. Yeah. So I grabbed one, and Zack and I had it in the canyon this morning, and what I was getting at is, you know, like typical with many economy cars, you get the one power seat, right? It's the driver's seat gets power. Maybe the driver's seat gets lumbar. In the case of the Corolla, it does. And then the passenger seat gets bupkis.
You get a seat.
It is in fact a seat. It looks like the driver's seat, but it's a completely different seat. Like it's just
without
it fits
lumbar,
completely
it fits different.
Yeah,
the padding
way
is the
different.
same, but it doesn't. You know, it's manually adjustable instead of electronic, and without the lumbar, it changes the shape of it.
And it was lower because there's no power.
That's true.
So yeah, there's no power, so it sits lower. So which means you're. Oop, I kicked. All right, if I'm going to sit on this side of the table, we need to move the trash can. Because last show, I kicked the fucking trash can like 4 times. I just did it 8 seconds into this show. Okay, thank you.
Okay, you're very welcome.
I can't handle my feet. They're just wildly all over the place. No, but the right seat, lower, but no, you just like, you sunk into it like it was a couch, basically. Like it was like a lazy boy. And then the driver's seat, really did have some good bolstering. So if you're on a road trip with somebody in one of these things, passengers getting kind of hosed in that department.
Yeah, it's a pretty big difference.
You
have to make sure your passenger has no spine problems and also doesn't complain about anything.
And it wasn't like, I feel like the difference was more because usually, until you get into like 6-figure cars, the passenger doesn't usually get everything the driver gets.
True.
Even like a pretty nice car, they'll both get like heated and cooled seats, right? But the driver will still get more.
The driver usually gets, if the driver gets 10-way adjustable, then the passenger gets 8 or 6.
Right.
You know.
But I feel like in the Mazda 3 that we drove last week, there wasn't as big a discrepancy between driver and passenger.
Definitely not. But that car, to be fair, was $34,000, and this car is $25,000.
No, yeah, the cost comes from somewhere.
Yeah, and your
for $25,000. Everybody can't be comfortable.
Exactly. Yeah, it's a slippery slope.
We had in making this video, we discussed the Fiesta ST a little bit. I forgot if we discussed it on camera or afterwards on the drive down. But
drive down.
I pulled up on the way to the studio today. I pulled up behind a Fiesta ST in the Corolla. It's substantially bigger.
Yeah,
wider.
Really?
Wider. Yeah, it's a lot wider. You could tell just pulling up. It's like, oh Jesus, the Fiesta's like little. It's a little car.
Yeah.
The Corolla is really Focus-sized, not Fiesta-sized.
Okay.
Pretty much.
That's pretty impressive because I think it feels shorter than a Focus, but definitely wider. Like they widen the track and everything.
It is shorter because it's a hatchback.
Yeah.
The sedan is longer than and they take away some of that seat space from the rear seat room.
Yeah.
So since we're on it, I mean, the Corolla though, like, okay, it's a manual. Like the manual transmission in it itself is pretty good.
Yeah.
The gears are right. It's easy to use. It has a hill hold assist, which is nice for $25,000. It has auto rev matching, which is easy to toggle on and off for $25,000. It works good. It has a very light clutch. It doesn't have a lot of clutch feel, but it has a very light clutch, and it'd be a great car to learn stick on. It'd be a great car to drive. It feels like peppy in the city, and it gets very good fuel economy on the highway. It's not bad in the canyons. Let's just say you can't have everything.
Right.
It's not bad in the canyons, but it's not really a sports car either. Like, Zach, that really resonated in the microphone, that in-tide burp.
Well, the breakfast burrito from Bill's place is amazing.
Oh,
Still with me.
4 hours ago.
Yeah. The car's weird. It's not weird. Like, this new one has a chassis that's 60% stiffer than the outgoing model. And, like, I feel like you feel the benefit in the Canyon.
Yeah.
Because it does move around you the way you want it to. But all of the ways you control it are a bit like string with too much slack. It's like the steering has zero feel. Like, it sets a new bar for zero feel. The clutch has zero feel.
I don't know about
the
new
brakes
bar,
are okay.
but that's rough.
I mean, it doesn't matter. Like,
no,
it's
like
accurate,
the Mach-E had zero feel. The Mach-E was like the Mach-E was like going to the local amusement park and playing Daytona USA steering feel.
True. This had a little more weight to it, so it might be a little bit better. But, so the chassis is good. It's just, okay, so they don't give you
right. Well, when you get a taut chassis, right, when you improve your chassis rigidity, what you can then do is soften your springs. Mm-hmm. And so you can have a car that has a really good ride, which the Corolla does.
Yeah.
It also has quite a bit of body roll, which I don't see as being the worst thing, actually. The tires give way long before the chassis does.
They do, yeah. I noticed the tires giving way before the body roll.
I hate Yokohama tires. I've never really driven on one I really liked. And
they squealed. They lost traction so early.
For a 280 treadwear tire, and treadwear isn't always 100% tied to grip and performance, but in general, the lower the number in your treadwear with tires, like the more performance-oriented the tire.
Right.
And 280 is a pretty performance-oriented tire. And by comparison, and it's a good comparison, I think, the Vredestein tires, which, of course, asterisks, they bought ads with us, right? So it's not, I'm not making an A versus B comparison and saying you shouldn't buy the Yokohamas, you should buy Vredestein. I'm just saying it's a comparison. The Vredestein tires that are on Zack's E46 M3 were 500 treadwear, which if you saw them on the shelf or in a tire rack or in the store, you'd go, oh, 280 treadwear versus 500. One of these is going to have way more grip than the other one. And, and that was not true at all.
Right, yeah. And my front tires are back to stock size, 235 or 225. I mean, yes, so they're not even that wide.
An old M3 probably handles better than a new Corolla, but not necessarily. You can tell when one tire is doing its job better than another.
I mean, I bet the Corolla's chassis is more rigid than the M3's chassis.
Probably.
I mean, it's 20 years newer.
The steering is about the same ratio, if not the same feel. A lot of inputs.
So we were both very surprised at how quickly those tires let go.
Yeah, the tires were actually the weak point, I think, in the car. I think if you put a better tire on it, it could go quicker.
In an otherwise...
And what's nice,
pretty good car.
Yeah, it's naturally aspirated as well, so it doesn't make as much, power as some of the turbo cars. But the trade-off is, it's a really immediate, especially at the very bottom, especially like at 1,000 RPM, like very low. So when you let the clutch out, it's not like in vacuum. You know what I mean? So you can really let the clutch out at like basically idle and just go. And that's nice. And also you can hammer the snot out of it constantly. I mean, I've used a lot of full throttle this week, more than I've used it. Like there's not a lot of new cars out there where you can really just use full throttle like all the time, and it's cool.
And not get in trouble, or you mean not worry about the engine?
Yeah, not break it, not even worry about it. Like it's other than like a GT3 or like an EV, right? Both of which those are two indestructible feeling cars. Feel like you rev a GT3 at 7,500 all day long. It's like, okay, we're just here now. But Zach and I found ourselves, me in multiple occasions, Zach only once that I caught, being in like not just a gear too low, like being like 3 gears too low.
We're driving up Highway 1 and we're just cruising. And I had just looked at the tach too. And you look over and you're like, are you in third? I was like, thought I was in fifth.
Yeah, I mean, I was in like second and thought I was in fourth once. And
well, because the engine doesn't really get that much louder between 2,000 and 7,000 RPM, and you don't feel the vibration in the car. They do a really good job of like muting all of that, so you can just drive in whatever gear you treat it almost like a CVT, ironically.
Any gear you want. Yeah. But if you're going like 65 or 70, in sixth gear, you're like under 3,000 RPM, or maybe right at, which in a 2-liter NA, you're going to get really good fuel economy if you keep the revs low and just kind of cruise.
It gets 36 to 40.
Yeah, I believe it. I've had this thing for 4 days, and even with filming today, which filming was like, 45 miles away each way, and then hammering it up and down the hill a bunch of times, and then I drove it downtown. I drove it all over, just running errands around. It still has over half a tank of gas.
That's the benefit of small engines,
right? We've driven I feel like I've driven 200 miles in it and still got over half a tank of gas in it, and that includes filming. Like, what?
Yeah, driving hard up and down the mountains.
Yeah, that's crazy. It's very efficient for a simple car.
I'm a fan of that car. I mean, I rented one years ago, last year, and I couldn't believe how well it rode. And then we just drove it around. The springs, the suspension, and everything is set up so nicely for commuting. On LA's really terrible roads, it does a really, really good job of hiding.
Yeah, and it feels, in the canyons, it's 170 horsepower and it's 3,000 pounds. So it's not fast.
No, it's not.
But in the city, because you can treat its engine like you hate it, I find myself going, reasonably quick all the time because I'm just willing to smash the floorboard with the throttle all the time, and it feels fine.
Yeah, it feels almost like an EV.
Yeah, you can't break it.
Yeah, and it's quiet and all. The transition.
In fact, both of
us
forgot to press the clutch in coming to a stop because it was so quiet and shit that we both forgot it was stick at one point. Within a half hour of each other, we both did it. Yeah. I'm it started bucking, and I'm what's did I break it? Oh, clutch.
Yeah, that's so funny.
Completely fucking forgotten stick.
I gotta say, man, for $25,000. That's a lot of good car. You get the heated seats, you get Apple CarPlay, and the seat, I will say, the driver's seat, I thought was very comfortable, especially for the price. The support was good, the bolstering was good, it was soft but not too soft.
Yeah, the driver's seat was good.
Yeah.
In fact, I think they knock off the seat back shape from another car they make.
It does look familiar, doesn't it?
It looks awful Lexus-like.
Yeah, from the side, I was this looks very
I think
angular.
they knock the shape off from Lexus. It's not as nice as Lexus's seat, but I think they knock off the seat back shape from there, yeah. It's good. Overall, high marks, I think.
Yeah, I agree.
High marks. And there's really almost nothing about the car that I didn't like that you couldn't easily change. Really, it's really the tires.
Yeah.
I don't know what else would I change? I mean, I wouldn't change anything else, really.
Yeah, nothing else.
We didn't set the brakes on fire.
No.
I thought we would. It doesn't really have enough power to set the brakes on fire. If it had a turbo without more brakes.
And we were on a really tight road. We were on a great road. I mean, that is a fantastic road. But we couldn't really get enough speed.
The best.
To we couldn't get going fast enough to then have to brake heavily because the corners were just so tight. It was like skiing through trees.
It felt like I was going quick, but I bet in the footage it looks really slow.
Yeah, and you're making noise, and I can, you got to brake aggressively, but it looks slow. It does. But man,
Corolla.
It's a solid car.
It's a Corolla.
Yeah.
Corolla is as Corolla does.
Most sold car in the world ever. More than the
for
Beetle.
Sure.
More than the Beetle.
Yeah, for sure. Because it's just ubiquitous everywhere. And I think they make the old ones still in other
somewhere?
Yeah, you go to Brazil or some shit and they still make one 2 generations ago. In Africa, they probably sell the tooling. I was we went to Bill's, that dude who hangs out on the porch at Bill's. Were you there when he was telling me his Corolla story?
No.
He felt that this guy who hangs out at Bill's felt the need to tell me his Corolla story. He had a 94 Corolla wagon, and I feel the need to tell you. So, And he blew the motor. I'm going to tell you the much shorter version. He found a way to make the story 15 minutes. He blew the motor in it, and he put it on Craigslist with a blown motor, and within minutes he had people blowing up his phone, outbidding each other. Well, as it turns out, it was a Corolla wagon, which is the official taxi cab of every country that ends in Stan, and so international exporters wanted it. Yeah, they fucking dump them over there all day long. So they were trying to beat down the guy's door to export it to Afghanistan to be a cab.
How much money do you think it costs to ship that car to Afghanistan as cheaply as possible? It's got to be a couple.
According
grand,
to this dude, one of those. It's like $2,000 or $3,000 to put it the slow. They put because they kind of stack them inside the containers because they can put like 4 of them in a container.
Yeah,
put that shit on a ship and
Okay.
And I guess they're like $10,000-$12,000 over there because that's a job. Wow. You know what I mean? That's you're a cab driver now. Here you go.
Wow, that's quite a payment on a car, depending on what the GDP of the country is and the daily income. Wow.
I don't know how they do medallions in Afghanistan, but apparently they drive Corolla wagons.
I think if you just have the car,
pretty much.
I don't know if that's me just
white
totally speaking
and just
out of
put
school.
a little yellow cone on the roof.
Wow.
Yeah,
it's quite the flip.
Yeah, I mean it's logical. It makes sense. In Mexico, it's those the Sentras.
Yep.
Which are Tsurus, Nissan. I think it's TSURU. URU. I took one as a cab when I was in. Yep. That's it.
100%.
How many fucking generations ago? Oh, the crash test. Just pull up the crash. Just pull up that. Yeah, that's all you need to know. So
wow, the front tires are basically in the trunk.
The Nissan. Oh, this is the title of that image. The title of this article. The Nissan Suru in Mexico has been involved in over 4,000 deaths between 2007 and 2000. What is the other year?
Find out after the jump.
Click. And 2012. Yikes. It's an old article, and that crash test picture really says a lot about why they don't sell that shit anymore here. Right. I think they just like maybe 2020 was they finally said you can't sell this shit box in Mexico anymore.
I think you're right. Yeah, I drove that Sentra. I drove this generation Sentra with mods on it, and the guy was telling me, he's like, they still make this in other countries now. And this was 2 years ago.
Yeah, they were really kind of cool. The SCR from back in the day, that thing would mob.
Yep.
But
it had multi-link for all 4 corners.
Right.
For like 2 years, it had that, and the engine was fine. And after that, they went to torsion beam and all this other stuff. But it had a couple of years where it was really good. And yet, they kept making it for 30 years in other countries.
I took one as a cab in Puerto Vallarta in like 2019. And I tried, my Spanish is not great, but it could get me by the very, and I tried to speak Spanish to this cab driver. It was a pretty long ride. We were going out to some remote restaurant or whatever. Like 5 minutes into the fucking ride, it's like, I'm from Chicago, bro. It was one of those. I was like, oh, fucking hell. He's like, good. I appreciate you trying. You're good. Yeah, but he said the Suru, he's like, we're driving this thing. He's like, it's so sketchy. He's like, people get in crashes in these things and they just completely disintegrate. Just fall apart.
Dude, that picture was, the front bumper was in the back seat.
Yeah, it's
for
bad.
real.
It was really bad.
Scary stuff.
Anyway, we've got, we launched this Clips channel, by the way. You guys should go find it on YouTube. It's TST Clips.
Yes, it is.
TST Clips. Is that 1.07 thousand subscribers?
That's 1.07.
It's not a lot of subscribers.
How
many clips did you put up there, though? It was like 20?
Right now, we've got 20. We're putting out 5 a week.
5 a week?
Publishing 5 a week.
Holy shit.
Because we have a good back catalog. And yeah, it's all the best stuff from the podcast. It's like comedians, drivers, chefs, a journalist, whatever, funny moments, people yelling at each other occasionally.
We've been paying a guy for like over a year to make these clips. Mm-hmm. His name is Michael. He's very nice.
Yep.
And up this whole time, we've done nothing with them.
I've done nothing with them.
Well, yeah.
I had 2 jobs.
Yeah, you had 2 jobs. Now that you have 1 job,
right.
It is there. So go over to TST Clips, subscribe, and hopefully it brings more people eventually to our show.
Yo, the Segura video, 485,000 views.
Oh, shit. Wow, really?
Yeah.
The rev share on that?
No, we don't. Not until you hit 10,000 subscribers.
Oh, fuck.
Yeah.
Wow, we put a clip up that has 485,000 views?
Yeah.
Wow, thanks, Tom Segura.
Yeah, exactly.
We really appreciate that.
It brought his fans in.
That has like...
Second place.
That has like 10,000 times more views than the next one.
It has
just Guy Fieri's first muscle car.
I think it's
485 times.
Yeah.
485 times more.
Yeah. But yeah, go check out the Clips channel. If you don't have time for a full podcast, go listen to a clip.
And if you subscribe to us on YouTube, they'll probably start popping up in your recommended. So maybe once in a while, just give us a little clicky click.
Yeah.
Give it a little clicky click. Let it see what's up. And so, yeah, there's that happening. That's a thing. I took the 328 to the canyons this past weekend. for the first time because I put 500 miles on it before I went to Donnie's, but not canyon miles because I didn't want to have something break and get myself stranded, so I didn't want to go too far out of town.
Okay.
But I took Christian and we went with this dude Steve, who's a friend also. He's at the motoring club, and he's got a 77 308 carbureted with an exhaust, like headers and like a tubey exhaust, and his shit is like snarly. Not only is it snarly, his shit shoots fire. Like, his shit regularly shoots fire.
Now, you have been on record as saying that cars that shoot fire are better than cars that don't shoot fire.
Yes.
So does that make his car better than yours?
In some ways, yes.
Ooh, okay.
In some ways, it is better. And it's really, his shit sounds fucking snarly. Because, the carburetors are also snarly.
Yeah.
And so, but it's also not as fast. Mine pulls harder.
Really?
Yeah, mine pulls harder.
Interesting.
But
is that because yours run, or just because more efficient?
Well, mine's
fuel
a
injection?
328 and his a 308. So, but I also don't think that I would want that sound. Like, that's like his, like weekend special car. Like, you know what I mean? Like, he takes this thing out to like go mob, and he drives it pretty hard. Bless his heart. You know what I mean? Respect. What's really interesting about that 308 is it's got the 14-inch wheels on it, and it's an early car, so it has really skinny bumpers and shit. He might have even taken the rear bumper off completely, now that I think about it. And how much it looks like a Dino with the small wheels on it compared to like how much my car looks like later cars.
What is his? 72?
His is 77 308 GTB. And there's a picture of my car next to his on my Instagram, but that's a good photo. With the smaller wheels, the 14-inch wheels, it really, like that silver one up on the top there, it looks a lot more like Dino-like than the later cars with the bigger wheels, I think.
Yeah, I mean that is a lot of sidewall. That is.
It's a lot of sidewall, and then look how little rear bumper there is too.
Yeah.
And especially my homie Steve's car is black, so you really the black is even more hidden.
Yeah,
and
with the small bumper, man, that's a good
small bumper's
car.
Good. Small bumper's cool. If you're gonna have a 308, like that's probably the one to have. His interior is super sick too. The old school like levers and stuff. Mine is really like 80s, like pseudo digital kind of garbage. I'm jealous of his levers.
The levers are really cool.
Oh, his does have the rear bumper, but it's black, so it's harder to see. But so his, go back to my Instagram.
I'm gonna find. Okay, I was gonna find it. Where am I going?
Right there. The two cars next to each other. Right there. So it's just more like, I don't know, Dino-like. That's all I meant to say. But my car ran very nice. All the temperatures are good. It ran like a champ. It made excellent power. It's very smooth. It does have a burble. It doesn't shoot fire, but it's like, it's not like a bangy burble. It's like a little more mellow burble. But it runs fucking nice.
Yeah.
Very good.
You know, it's a big difference. Well,
my
you're
God,
running on like 7 cylinders before sometimes.
When it was cold, yeah. Now it's like, it's great. It's excellent. So, I need to do some more miles on it, but there will be lots of driving that. And then it's going to go back to Donnie for shocks, bushings, and fixing my gauge cluster.
Now, did you not take it to the canyons to begin with because that's kind of like the shakedown, like you just got it? But isn't it funny, like you get a professional to do things, and yet there's still a part of us that's like, let's just make sure.
No, I didn't take it to the canyons before it went to Donnie.
No, after I thought you said you didn't go to the canyons because you were.
No, before.
Oh,
before.
Okay. Got it.
I went as soon as I had time.
Got it.
After when it came back. Yeah.
That makes sense because there were like parts falling apart.
No, yeah, things were not in good nick before. Now that everything's kosher, the fucking thing is running awesome. It was great fun. I'm gonna go up there all the time.
What was it that came apart? Your injector or something? Like when we were there the first time at Donnie's.
Oh yeah,
he's like, see how this is supposed to be bolted in?
Yeah,
and
the injector just came out. Yeah, the O-rings that were holding in the injectors were like not doing their jobs.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, we're golden now. Excellent power.
Nice.
Yeah, so that's good. What else do I want to talk about? Bill got his first coronavirus shot, so he can be a little less grumpy now.
He definitely seemed less grumpy.
Yeah. He's a cancer survivor as well. So imagine having to be like in the front of house food service industry with all the fucking entitled assholes in Malibu coming in and like not wearing masks and shit when you've like already beat cancer. So.
Yeah. You're one sneeze away.
Yeah.
Someone else just coughing. Yeah, that'd be really, really
scary shit.
Yeah.
So yeah. Yay, Bill. Get vaccinated.
Everybody go get a breakfast burrito during the
week. Go get a breakfast burrito or ask for Matt's sandwich, which is the bacon, egg, and cheese bagel, but with cream cheese, which is one of these things that sounds gross, but in actuality, once you try it, you will wonder how you've been missing out on that your entire life.
I will support that statement. I thought it was going to be gross, and it was amazing. It's like the cold cheese, it's like an icing, but not too sweet.
It's like the McLaren Elva. I was like, well, that's going to be dumb. Who would want that? And then I was like, hang on a minute.
That was an artful pivot, by the way.
I think I would like to never drive cars with windshields again. I think we're going to go sans windshield from here on out. That was a good pivot, wasn't it?
It was, very good.
Yeah. I'm not going to linger there, though. Oh, someone suggested earlier that we talk about Tesla and Bitcoin.
What do they want us to say about it?
I don't know. I mean, what do you think about Tesla and buying Bitcoin? I think... I read that they made more profit on Bitcoin than they made selling cars.
They did, yeah, correct. In a day, because their announcement that they bought it sent it up another 10%.
Oh, is that metric in a day?
Yeah,
it was more in the day than they'd made cars for the year or something.
For the quarter,
for the quarter, right? Yeah.
Well, because their filing was in January, so they bought it when it was at 30 something, and then by the time they announced it had already gone up another 33%, and then their announcement sent it up another. So whatever it is, it's like they had just made 25-30% on their investment by the time they announced it. Sounds like a good investment. Yeah, I mean it is financially for them.
But it's not. I don't know enough about the shoulds or should nots necessarily of Bitcoin. I just kind of look at it like a stock more than anything else, really, which I think. For like a stupid person like me, is kind of how you're supposed to look at it. It's how people talk about it.
Yeah, that's the simplest way to look at it. It's like people look at it as an investment or a currency. That's an argument that people can have. But
I look at it more as an investment than a currency, because don't you have to, I mean, unless someone explicitly says that they will accept Bitcoin as payment for something, you pretty much have to convert it back into money, dollars or whatever, some other type of federal currency to...
Yeah, correct.
Right?
There are some
and then
companies,
there's tax implications, right?
Right. Yeah, because if you're selling it, it can be a taxable event,
right?
Because it's an investment that's being converted to fiat. So it's like if someone said, I guess there's two things. Some businesses just accept Bitcoin, and they take it. Some businesses will accept it, but they're immediately converting it to fiat so they can have cash.
Right.
So they're accepting it, but they're exchanging it. And
but they're not really accepting it. It's really saying it's like a marketing thing. It's like.
I mean, I think they're just looking at look, if people want to pay us, however, they can pay us, and we'll take this and we'll exchange it for cash, and that's fine. I don't know what they're
taking the hit then on that.
I don't know what happens to a business if they take it. But like Tesla also announced that they're going to start taking Bitcoin for Teslas.
That I will wait and see until they actually do. Mm-hmm. Tesla's the king of announcing.
Right.
They get the announcement. You get the front page announcement. And by the way, if you fucking invest in Bitcoin, now you're talking about creating a circle.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
Like a self-fulfilling, which is really the problem with Tesla, because at this point, an investor isn't even investing in Tesla, the car company. You're not even really investing in Elon. You're really investing in the fact that other people are going to continue investing in Elon, which means you're actually investing kind of in gullibility.
You mean just as far as the stock price goes?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, that's kind of true of any stock. Like you're buying it and you're hoping, you're hoping it goes up in value so that maybe one day you'll sell it to somebody who's willing to pay a higher value for it.
Well, of course. But if I buy a stock in a lot of other things, it's because I actually want the business to be doing better, not because I'm just hoping other people will get in on some fucking fantasy world.
I mean, true. But you'd have to ask each investor, do you think that Tesla will one day be profitable and have growth quarter over quarter because of the battery factories here and the development there? And some people might go, yeah. And some people might go, no, I just think he's going to pump it, he's going to go to 3,000 one day and I can sell it. I bet you have people on both sides. I mean, there's like the whole thing with GameStop, like hedge funds aren't in there going, this is going to be accruing in value and this company's going to be doing
of course.
Things. They're just like, in 2 minutes, I'm going to sell this for double.
Yeah. Fair. But it's just, I don't know, there's something really that feels so like wrong and terrible about the confluence of a car company stock that's incredibly overvalued compared to the actual performance of the cars. And by performance of the cars, I mean sales, right? Completely divorced from reality, right? Mm-hmm. Most valuable car company in the world, 1% market share,
right.
Eat a fucking dick,
yeah.
Okay? So we're already in fantasy land. So already this stock price is based on how much people believe in what comes out of Elon's mouth, which is 99% garbage and bullshit. And as evidenced by the fact that the refreshed Model S is not even really refreshed. Like, they don't actually have any ideas in reality. They only have hype and fantasy to try and sell you to keep it fucking pumping, right? So that's already completely divorced from reality. Now you're talking about, and the stands, the biggest stands are also their investors, right? So you are financially rewarded for investing in and repeating the hype.
Right.
And that is the same type of behavior you get with Bitcoin people. And when you combine the two and all of them are financially rewarded, you now have this crossover of Bitcoin people hyping Tesla just because they got the pump from that, and vice versa, right? And it's completely divorced from reality.
Well, I think I would say that the people on the side of Bitcoin are not divorced from reality, because to them, this is a large institution that's an S&P 500 company that just voted confidence in something that they believe in. So it would be, the first company that did it was this company called MicroStrategy, which is like a huge investment company, and they bought $400 million of Bitcoin last year. Mm-hmm. And so that was a vote, but nobody knows who MicroStrategy is. And like the name sounds like they make mouse pads. So now you have a company that is recognized like basically the world over, Tesla, doing the same thing. So they are excited that a company with that much notoriety and oversight is investing in the same thing they've invested in. But I think the Tesla thing is, you are correct. Anytime someone has a vested financial interest, it's really hard for them to divorce that from the facts of a company. If you tell someone, like the Teslarati is a great example. Not only do they have the product, so they have to defend their purchase. You have to defend your $50,000 to $140,000 car purchase.
Right.
You have to defend that, and then if you're also invested in the company, now you have to defend your investment. So it's very hard, I think, for a human being to turn off that psychology of, I'm going to defend my decision, and then go, you know what, you're right. Like, their financials don't make a lot of sense, and their market share is way low compared to their stock price. You're going to go, no. In 20 years, they're going to make the batteries that help us, fly helicopters like, across the ocean with one charge or something like that. So I think it's just really hard for humans to ignore facts like that.
Yeah, and I also, again, it's the promise that would deliver the value isn't based necessarily on selling more cars. It's on delivering self-driving cars. That's where their eggs are all in that basket. And if you follow me on Twitter, you'll see I retweeted a story this morning in which they pretty much are doing what Trump's legal team was doing, telling everyone this one thing. In Trump's case, we're talking about the election was stolen. In Tesla's case, we're talking about these cars will be self-driving cars. Your Model 3 will be a self-driving car. But when they go to when Rudy Giuliani goes into court, or when Tesla goes in to file the appropriate paperwork for driving a self-driving L3 or above vehicle on public roads in California, they go, oh, no, our cars are only L2. They're definitely not self-driving. We don't need to do this extra level of research and reporting that you would need to do if they were self-driving, because our cars are definitely not self-driving. So when it comes to the people pumping the stock and listening to Elon talk about how self-driving cars are right around the corner and your car could be a robo-taxi and we're just here and it's big bad OEMs keeping us little guy from doing this, when it counts, when they're filing the paperwork with the actual system that would allow them to sell self-driving cars, they're going, we do not, absolutely do not make a self-driving car. If we did, we would require all the owners of these self-driving cars to fill out all this extra shit to operate a self-driving car on California roads. Our cars are most definitely not self-driving, nor will they ever be. So that's what it says when they're filing their paperwork. But they're just spinning this bullshit to everybody else, and everybody else is just fucking eating it up because they want to believe that this is around the corner, and Elon is a very good salesman, and he sounds just smart enough to sound really smart, but he's not that smart. And
I think he's pretty smart.
He's pretty smart, but he's not as nearly as smart as he makes himself fucking out to be. He says dumb shit all the time.
I mean, I think humans are going to say dumb shit all the time.
Well, that's fine, but people don't worship fucking most of them.
So if someone files for a self-driving car, are you talking about like Waymo or any other companies that are testing that technology?
Right.
They have to file like a different kind of paperwork, a different kind of regulation.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah, and every car has this sort of a log, like a race car would have a log, or like a boat has a log, or a plane has a log. You know, it's really constant kind of reporting. And the existing laws for the testing of autonomous vehicles, or so I've read, and I maybe I'm wrong, but what I've read is the laws for this are really written for corporate-owned fleets of test vehicles. They are not written
for a consumer vehicle. Right.
And there'd need to be massively rewritten for that.
I'm sure,
because according to basically everybody, we're so far away from that these rules don't even need to exist yet. However,
right, like the NHTSA, I'm sure they had meetings about this with car companies, and they go, how close are you all to actually doing this? And they go, 10 years, 20 years. And they go, okay, then we don't need to, use the resources to rewrite these laws and think about this now.
Right.
Yeah. Okay.
But here's Tesla at the other end going, our system is ready. It's ready for this. So it's telling people, because they make the videos, right? When they run their system at level 3, when they make these promotional videos that show the car driving itself, the asterisk down there says that we only run this system at level 3 for this video. So they have to do the logging for the video, but only then.
Got it.
It's so anyway, I suppose if Tesla wants to take Bitcoin as a form of payment, cool, fine, that's good. I suppose there's nothing wrong with more people taking Bitcoin for payment, I guess. To me, it's not really any different than saying we'll take payment in euros, or we'll take payment in Apple stock, or you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You could put up your stock options in whatever, you know what I mean? We'll take payment in Vanguard index funds, I guess. Like I don't personally draw a real distinction between that. You know what I mean? It's not like I don't think Bitcoin's like a legitimate investment vehicle, like it is. But I just, God, do I not trust them to do anything altruistic? Because it's like, just to me, it doesn't seem like anything they do is really altruistic. And so I'm always kind of like, well, what is the angle here? Like, what does that make him able to get away with? That's what I'm always kind of looking for, and generally finding. I mean, it's not like I'm not regularly proven wrong about really hardly anything I say about this company.
It's one interesting point I saw was they took $1.5 billion and they put it into this, which based on history will accrue in value at least over the next year, maybe 2 years, whatever. Obviously, nothing is a foregone conclusion, but should they have taken that $1.5 billion and put it into production, put it in, help fix the production problems they're having?
Yeah.
I saw a thing like China is having a big problem with Teslas with a bunch of failures and part things and
Shocking.
fires, like lots of stuff.
Absolutely shocking. A company that builds cars of garbage quality in America can't build them of better quality in China.
So there's a couple interesting things there. Like one, I'm always hesitant to trust news coming out of China because it's such a controlled environment, right?
Sure.
So you have an American company, and this is all totally theoretical, but I have to take that with a grain of salt because about 6 months ago when I was writing Haggerty's Daily Driver, there's a story that a bunch of people were trying to return their Teslas in China for front suspension failure. And it was like a bunch of people
that's a problem that happened here.
Really? Okay.
Because
they were saying that the rebuttal by Tesla was people were crashing into shit.
Tesla galvanizing front suspension failure. It's a big thing here, but the government did not make them. Right there, second U.S. agency, November 2020. This is recent.
That's
U.S. agency investigating Tesla front suspension failures. Yepers. That shit happens all the time, bro.
All right, wow.
Yep.
I retract. I thought it was...
Just how about Google image search, Tesla Model S front suspension failure, and prepare to laugh at the number of nearly identical images. Here's what you're going to see. Wheels crushed up into wheel wells. And crunch. Yep.
Oh, wow.
Yep.
Week old
Couple of
Model
them.
X.
Couple of them. Couple of them. Couple of them. Wompy wheel. Wompy wheels. So anyway, it happens.
Right.
This is why I think the Cybertruck is horseshit. They can't build normal cars properly. Every time they've tried to claim they can reinvent some production process, remember the alien dreadnought? You don't remember? Google Tesla alien dreadnought. That's what Elon Musk called his fucking totally automated Model 3 assembly line that didn't work for fucking shit, which led to them building the tent where they build cars. They tried to build this crazy automated factory, except it didn't fucking work. None of it worked. They had major problems, and they had to eliminate a lot of the robots and put in humans. And that's why these cars, that's why they're building fucking tents.
I mean, because that's how we've been to the Corvette factory. I mean, a lot of factories now, it's a mix of humans and robots. Robots handle the welding because it's repetitive and dangerous, and it's just precise welds, and they get a lot better. They do a lot better job. But the humans are always there, like overseeing stuff, installing interiors, other things that kind of need to be moved and wiggled a little bit. So, very bold to do everything with robots.
So,
it's not perfect yet.
Right, but why brag about it? But why try and reinvent the wheel? Why assume everything that's been done before is wrong or bad?
Well, I think we're always trying to push to do something better than it was done before, right? I mean,
right, but what I'm saying is they've already proven they're bad at that. So why continue to lean into it? Why not be like, hey, listen, guys, we should practice building regular cars before letting our CEO get up on stage and being like, we're going to completely reinvent how all cars are built. And they're going to look like this Total Recall movie prop, by the way.
Right.
Little less acid, maybe.
Run kind of thing.
Mm-hmm. Maybe we figure out how to make tail lights that don't turn into fish tanks filled with water. Maybe we figure out how to make suspension components that don't just disintegrate.
Yeah, that
would be somewhere to start before being like, we're going to reinvent auto manufacturing with our 1% market share. You guys are all suckers, every fucking one of you. Every one of yous.
It's that whole Silicon Valley move fast and break things.
Of course.
But now you have so many pieces. It's not
move fast and break things. I'm on my motorcycle on the highway next to the things that are breaking.
Right. That's why it's a lot different when you are making a physical product that then is made of a million other physical products. It has to move. It has to endure physics. It's not just we've made software that changes the way finances run.
And it's not like the only people that sign up to beta test are the people who are leasing and buying Teslas. Every other person on the road is beta testing.
Yeah, it's a good point.
And if the beta test goes badly and that Tesla hits you, that company will do everything in their power to put the blame for that on the owner or lessee of the vehicle and to avoid responsibility as a company. That's their policy. Just saying. Should we go to the people?
What's that?
Should we go to the people?
Yeah. Anything else?
It's actually it's the safety part of it that all of this AV shit is cynically leaned up against a crux of we're improving safety. But like, really, are we, or are we just finding a way to get people to part with their money? You know what I mean?
I think it's a mix of both. I mean, I think companies are very good at creating a problem and telling you that you have a problem, whether it's a diet thing or a technology thing or a thing. You need this coffee table, not that coffee table. Like, here's a better way to fold your shirt, whatever it is.
Right.
So that's how they sell you shit. And so some of the problems, I mean, there's two things. Like, if you want to sell us more stuff, create the problem. But there's also a genuine evolution that happens with products and machinery. That's how we get where we are now, and that's how we get to where we're going to be.
Right.
But
I just wish those products and machinery were made pretty fucking foolproof before they were put onto the highway with a fucking wink disclaimer.
Yeah, I mean,
and a fan club that is financially incentivized to bury problems and elevate the leader. Financially incentivized. Remember that fake reality show I did, the Ford Focus rally back in the day?
Yeah.
It was the Amazing Race. We went from place to place in the then new Ford Focus, right? Everyone was allowed to use GPS. It was a scavenger hunt in which everyone was allowed to use the GPS in the car, but that's all you had, okay? Same car, same GPS, okay? Supposedly a navigational challenge. The first person to get to each place would win. And they had trackers in the car, and you weren't supposed to speed. But we'd speed by like 1 mile an hour, 2 miles an hour. And it would creep up. And literally, you'd see the car, the next guy in front of you, and the speed limit would be 70, and you'd go to 73. And then they'd fucking yell at you because the insurance, you couldn't have you speeding, right? So they'd sit you down and they'd yell at you and they go, "You can't speed on this event. It's just not worth it." And I stand up and I go, "Excuse me, you've told us the first person there fucking wins, and there's a $50,000 prize. It is 100% worth it.
Yeah,
absolutely worth it. You made up a game and are trying to tell me it's not worth it to speed when the facts of the case are that it is absolutely worth it to speed.
Yeah."
This math says worth it. And guess what? The very next day, they had a fucking powwow with the producers. They changed the rules.
Really?
All of a sudden, the next day, driving was eliminated from the competition.
Oh,
Getting there first didn't matter anymore.
Because they couldn't argue with that.
Nobody mentioned this in a production meeting.
Well,
by the way, they're incentivized to speed.
To that point, I know that neither of us watched the Super Bowl, but my physical therapist did, so I got this story. But there was a streaker during the Super Bowl, right? You know that? Now, someone put down a bet in Vegas the day before that there would be a streaker, and the odds were insane.
Yeah.
The person that was the streaker put that bet down.
No fucking way.
And they made $370,000. So this person bet like whatever was less than that.
Does it count? There was no asterisk, so the streaker couldn't be yourself?
I bet there will be next year, but there was not. So the guy went to jail, got bailed out, got paid out.
No way. Whatever your name is, you're a true American.
Genius.
True American hero and a patriot. God bless. God bless. And if you're an immigrant,
so good.
We need more like you, frankly.
That's a go-getter. That's a creative thinker. I was amazed. I was like, that person is brilliant.
Yeah.
Now,
that's like that joke. That's literally the joke from the Quentin Tarantino joke from Desperado, I think.
I remember the nuance.
He gets up on the bar and pisses all over the bar, and the joke is that someone bet him like all this money to do it. No,
I remember.
Whatever it is, but the streak, that's the joke.
Yeah.
The joke is it is financially incentivized to do this terrible behavior.
Oh, right. Like, I'll bet you $1,000 someone pees on this bar.
Exactly.
And all right, and I do it, and you're like, you gotta pay me.
100%.
Right. Yeah.
So where am I going with this? I hope you figured out that the metaphor is when bad behavior of any kind is financially incentivized,
which it almost always is.
Which, I mean, it almost always is in our modern times, but it a lot of people are incentivized to make money by fucking pumping up this company. And the merger of this company with Bitcoin, even if the Bitcoin people weren't Tesla people before, they might not know any fucking thing about cars, but they go, Tesla's making Bitcoin better, therefore I'm with that guy. And when that guy speaks, they'll just repeat.
I think I disagree. I think the only thing that will negatively impact people that are super into Bitcoin would be if it suddenly goes, Tesla sells all of its Bitcoin because of anything other than they have a cash problem. But if it's like, if they go, we're not really into this anymore, that's bad. But if the cars are crashing or whatever, they're not going to go, yeah, we're like, it doesn't really help their cause as much.
I think if they can convince enough people to repeat that Teslas are the cars that drive themselves.
If they do that, yes.
Well, but that's what they're doing. That's what I'm saying. That's the problem. A lot of people are financially incentivized to repeat Elon Musk's lies.
I know, but what I'm saying is, I think the people that hold Tesla stock are more incentivized. I think the people that are like deep into Bitcoin
and Tesla stock are now linked. They're now linked. I bet you they are. I bet you they're more linked than you think they are.
Okay. Well, I mean, we'll watch. It's been like 2 days.
And by the way, when I say I bet you, I'm not invested in any of this shit.
I don't hold any Tesla.
I have no Bitcoin. I have no alternative coins. Tom Morningstar at one point had a lot of Doja coins when they were 1/100th of a cent or whatever the fuck. Bought them as a goof. I don't think you can ever get them though. I think they're lost in a computer somewhere.
It's so fun. Yeah, they probably are.
But I don't hold any OEM auto stocks whatsoever. It would be completely unethical of me to do so. Other people, Sandy Monroe, hold Tesla stock. Just saying.
I don't know who that is.
He's the guy who called the Model 3 a fucking mid-90s Kia at first, but then recently said how nice the Model Y and Model 3 were being made, and then said on video was bragging about how much money he made holding Tesla stocks. And this is supposedly the guy that everybody puts on a fucking pedestal as being the end-all and be-all of objective build quality criticism.
Yeah, you can't do that. It's conflict of interest.
Yeah, you can't do it, but he did it. Just saying.
Just trying to pull.
The people? Do the people have anything? Did our show go down?
No, the show is fine, but YouTube's YouTube Studio Interaction. I mean, remember how earlier this week the font was all fucked up?
Yeah.
Now it's like.
Now the super chat is like fucked up.
No, I have to go find it in the back setting. So talk amongst yourselves.
Talk amongst yourselves. What else did I have written down in my new book? I must have had something worth talking about. I'm sure. The Delica is at the body shop. Hannah got crashed into. I think I was talking about this before. And it's not totaled. The damage is fucking expensive. $7,500.
Whoa.
It's a lot.
That is a lot.
But guess what a complete sliding door assembly for a Delica goes for?
$2,800.
Less, $22.
Oh.
Yeah, not so bad. You know what the fucking kicker is that the step on the passenger side where you would step into the sliding door got pushed into the fuel tank, which is behind that step. So it didn't rupture it, but it dented it.
Oh, shit.
So the fuel tank's $1,000.
Yeah, that's not good.
That sucks balls. I could also not replace the fuel tank and just we're down a half gallon. Oh man, Zack is really intently looking for YouTube stuff right now. Additionally, I talked with Doug about possibly swap leasing Alex Roy's Model 3. Trying to plan anything with Alex Roy is very difficult. And I thought that this Model 3 was handy. He made it sound like it was around. Like he had it and I could just pay him.
Right, because it's his car. So
and he could just ship it. But a week went by and I was like, hey man, what's up with that Model 3? You want me to get a truck going or what? And he was like, it's under 2 feet of snow in New Jersey. And I was like, what? What are you talking about? And he was like, well, it's not. It's here in Miami, but I need to get my other one, which is under 2 feet of snow in New Jersey. And I was like, when are you going to do that? He's like, I don't know. I'm like, oh boy.
So what are you going to do?
I'm not really sure. Oh boy. When Zack is taking a picture of the screen, that's not
I'll
really
be sending
good.
this to YouTube support but I'm going. So I'm just gonna have to scroll through the chat like this. So
it's gonna be like that. Oh, okay, that's not that bad.
Yeah.
Michael Fabiano, is Zack wearing an Icopod? No, Zack is wearing a Bremont ALT1, ALTZ1, ALT. What is it?
ALTZ1.
ALTZ1. It's a nice watch. It's a GMT Chrono. Michael's looking to lease an EV when my current lease is up. Mach-E versus Kona EV. How do they compare? I prefer Mach-E to Kona EV. The Kona EV is really just like a regular Kona, like, which is nothing wrong with a Kona, but like it feels like an economy car that's had an EV powertrain put into it, whereas the Mach-E is a more like complete,
comprehensive project.
Yeah, that's that. There you go. It's more of a future product.
I've not driven a Kona at all.
I haven't really driven one either. But a client at Westside here has one, and I poked around it, and I drove it around a little bit. And while it is fundamentally a very nice-looking product, I wasn't, kind of like wowed by it like I was with the Mach-E. Mm-hmm. So if it's cheaper, save yourself some money, and if like the having the new like style isn't important to you, like okay, it's a little more invisible in traffic. Still, I'm sure that'll wear off in a year or two, but for now, people are still kind of oogling Mach-E's.
Ooh, well, there's a problem in December with the Kona.
Recall in South Korea. That's a recall in South Korea.
They were halting sales of its popular Kona in South Korea due to a recall of the vehicles. Fires and faulty brakes led to massive recalls of the Kona EV.
It's so bad that it's halting domestic sales. Huh. Okay. There we go. Yeah. Fire concern. So there's a recall. Yep, in the U.S. Okay, well, that's a thing.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll look into that. Maybe look into that. Pretty much every car's got recalls.
Very true.
Like, recalls don't necessarily mean the things are terrible. Even a really scary sounding one like that.
Yeah, in November, Toyotas, a bunch of them, like hundreds of thousands of Toyotas, were having a starting problem where they wouldn't start, which is Toyota's like only job. And so before you go, Hyundais are crap or Fords are crap, like just look up, go to Autoblog and look up recalls. Like every company has this problem, especially when you have a new
Hyundai
technology.
just recalled like a bunch of engines.
Yes, they
like
did.
a lot of engines.
They had the biggest recall of last year.
Yeah.
I was researching it. It was in the millions.
It was over a million cars,
they had a little problem. Yeah. I don't remember the details of it, but like
there was a problem. We couldn't do nothing about it.
Yeah, we're gonna have to bring back these engines and Hoozle.
I don't know. It's not like confirmed yet, but I think I'm leasing a Mach-E myself. Josh Seelig says, why do I rarely mention Tag Heuer? Is it worth it to spend more for a used Omega Speedmaster over a Tag Carrera? If you like Tag Heuer watches, that is fine. I will not say anything bad about you for liking Tag Heuer watches. It is my opinion that Tag Heuer watch makes about 100 watches, 95 of which are utter garbage, and 5 of which are pretty cool. So I don't mention them because I'm not particularly into them. But if you are, that's all right. And the
can I ask maybe a very dumb rudimentary question?
Sure.
What makes a watch garbage? Like, is it for you? Is it aesthetics, or is it like the movement works? It's crunchy. They break.
That's a fair question. For me, a lot of it is aesthetics and either leaning too much onto their history and kind of coming out with these sort of reissues and tributes and stuff like that, or when they move their pieces forward, their new pieces are just like not good looking and kind of they don't do it for me. That's
got
it. I definitely like some of the vintage Heuers, and I like the reissue like Autavia and the reissue Carrera a bunch. I'd probably get a used Speedmaster, but I don't like the wavy bezel Speedmasters.
I don't want to answer this question because it's free, but it's so fast. 4-speed versus 5-speed on automatic. Get the most gears you can in automatic.
Yes.
Otherwise, you're going to hate your drive.
Yeah, the most you can. More is good until you get to like past 8. Then
that's true.
The 10 speeds are not better than the 8 speeds, in my opinion. Trent wants to know if I've thought about documenting my house remodel. No, not really. No. Frankly, I don't think it's worked out well for Ferretti. I think
is he doing that?
I don't know if he's doing it on videos, but like if he is, I don't think it's helping. No, you'll see a few pictures on my Instagram because it's just the kind of thing I'll just throw up if something's interesting. I don't want to turn my house into a thing. There, another reason too. It's not. I couldn't. That wouldn't like if you do a project car and then document the build. It becomes tax deductible because the car, in that case, from a tax perspective, is actually no longer a car. It's as far as the IRS concerned, it's a production expense. And you needed the car to do the build on the car. And because you're a production company making videos about cars, like that's actually, and that's legal, by the way. This isn't like some kind of shady tax scam. Like that's a totally legal, legitimate, like if Top Gear bought those, Top Gear is doing a challenge, they buy 3 ship boxes. They haven't bought 3 cars to use as transportation. They've bought 3 bits of production equipment, right? So that's how that works. So bottom line, you can't do that with your home. Filming a project car build is worthwhile for that one reason only.
Yeah, because you're going to be in the house for 20 years. Yeah. IRS is going to show up on year 2 and be like, yeah. Still producing, are you? Yeah. Where's the show?
You have to have like a cam girl set up. And they do it by square footage.
Exactly.
It's
so
not
she
cool.
have to work in every room in the house.
I found a cam girl set up as Hannah and I were taking a walk through Marina Del Rey, and there was a cam girl set up. I mean, interestingly enough, like really right on the ground level, facing the street. Like, yeah, I'm assuming her shutters are normally closed.
Right. Okay.
But yeah, it was interesting. One of the biggest ring lights I've ever seen. It was like an 18-inch ring light. That's so big. With a phone in the middle.
My favorite thing to do is see people with the ring light out on the beach or in daytime. Basically, you're just like, I'm gonna light this.
Yeah.
The sun is lighting this too.
Have we ever had, Sean says, have I ever done any laps around Brainerd? I have, and Brainerd rules. Brainerd is one of the sketchiest, coolest places ever. I believe it is the fastest right-hand corner in North America.
Isn't it like 130-mile entry speed?
At least. It could be more. In a fast car, it could be more. So the full course, yeah, that one you're on right there is good. The full course, yeah, that's perfect. Uses at the top of the image there, uses the drag strip. And the drag strip and the runoff of the drag strip as the front. So that front straight is a full quarter-mile drag strip plus the runoff.
Which it looks like it's easily half a mile.
I think it probably is.
It looks like 5/8.
It might be over half a mile.
9/16.
Oh, actually, that drawing on the left there seems to have distances on it. Go down one. Does that have distance? Yeah, look. So 4,700 foot front straight.
Wow.
And that leads into a
60-degree right-hand corner.
Banked. It's banked.
Wow.
It's fairly steeply banked, like more than 10 degrees and less than 20. So really, really fast. In a fast car, probably 150 mile an hour entry speed. And then a quarter mile straight into another slightly tighter, but still very, very fast, probably 120 mile an hour right-hand corner. And then look at this, quarter mile into a 30 mile an hour right-hand corner. And what you don't see there, actually, turn 3, is that there's no guardrail on the outside of the course. It's just trees. So if you blow that corner, you're going straight into the woods in your race car at a really, really high speed. Yeah. So it's incredibly gnarly.
Jeez.
It's such a cool track. It's the coolest.
I think you ran it with the X5M.
Yeah, One Lap of America.
Right? And you came back and you're like, this place is out of its mind.
Yeah, it was so good. It was really
awesome.
fun. Yeah, and and actually that last corner there, turn 10 on the bottom right of your screen is really interesting because you're literally going full clip through the entry paddock of the drag strip. So right as you're tracking out, you're on the fucking drag strip and you drive through like a patch of VHT.
Whoa.
It's like, what is this?
That's cool,
so
man.
crazy.
If you have a big power car, you hook up real well.
Yeah, it's wild. Yeah.
Jeez.
That's a fucking course, man. It's really, really cool. Love Brainerd. If you ever get anyone who ever gets a chance to go drive there, it's a really cool. I don't think they run the full circuit very often. I think it's pretty dangerous. Chappie says, thoughts on any manufacturer that will blink first and Oh, and go back to feel and speeds you can enjoy. Okay, so basically he's saying, will anyone call an end to the horsepower performance wars? I don't. I feel like no. I feel like that's not going to happen. I mean, at a certain,
I think because marketing teams have a really hard challenge where if people besides us go in and they go, is the new car faster or better than my old car? And unless you have a quantitative way to say, like, yes, your old car had 300 horsepower, now it's 310 or 320 or 340. People they go, why would I buy a new one then? Unless they can get people really into tech, which right now I feel like we're kind of at a ceiling for technology.
One thing I think they could do, and if you wait a month, you will hear me make this argument in writing in Volume 4, Road and Track, about the Elva, is take a left into whimsy. So I actually, although it's not a mass market vehicle by any means, what I loved most about the McLaren Elva was that it's not trying to be faster than the 765, thank God, or the Senna. It's not a time attack car. You know what I mean? It's actually, I think, probably slower if you put it on a racetrack compared to a 765 LT or a Senna. But by removing the windshield, and they've added whimsy. And so adding whimsy, I think, is a thing that they could do. Like that AAMS thing that deflects the wind, they could build a version of the Elva or a version of a car that had that and no windshield based on the 570 that was maybe cheaper and smaller and, didn't have 800 horsepower.
But so how would a company like Porsche do that with a 911? So now we're talking about a more mass-produced, mass-sold vehicle.
I think they'd have to do kind of what Honda did, which is when the Civic got bigger, they came in under it with the Fit.
Yeah.
I think they just, as everything keeps getting bigger and more powerful, you come under it with something else.
Yeah, you just have to make a new brand, not a new brand, new model.
A new model.
Like Subaru with BRZ. They're just like, here's a new thing that doesn't have a turbo, it's not as fast, but it's great for these people.
Now, the problem with companies like Ferrari and McLaren is that they have figured out, quite accurately, I think, that it's easier to sell 200 cars for $2 million each than 2,000 cars for $200,000 each. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The rich are getting richer and they're hoarding.
Yeah.
And so you have a smaller group of people that has more and more and more money to burn. And they're just, you know what I mean? Like the person who buys an Elva or a Chiron Sport or whatever, they've already got everything else. I mean, they've already got it all. It's like, and this is the way it is right now. Yeah. So if the manufacturers are not finding more people to buy $80,000 sports cars, they're finding enough people to justify producing, whereas 10 years ago they would make, okay, we're going to make 5 of these, and they're going to be $1.5 million each. Now they're going, these are $1.5 million each, and we could sell 250 of them.
Right. It's still a limited run.
Yeah.
But there's far more made. Yeah.
Matter of fact, the Elva might fall under the ultra low volume vehicle manufacturer act, which even a company like McLaren would be able to produce a vehicle under that act. I think.
Well, they're making very few of those, right?
250.
They're making 250 Elvis? I thought it was like 6.
No, 250. Jesus. So I'm saying they got 250 people that are going to spend $2 million on this fucking thing.
Right, so there's your 500 million. Jeez.
Right, so is it that, or is it develop a mass market car that they have to crank out on an assembly line for 10 years? You know what I mean?
Yeah,
if you're Ferrari or McLaren, if I'm Ferrari, I'm going to go, shit, I'm going to drop the cheapest 3 things we make, only move up market, sell crazy one-offs to sheiks, and then up our T-shirt business.
I mean, so the hard thing, though, is what if you're Audi, what if you're BMW, what if you're Chevy, like...
A1, 1 Series.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Down market, front wheel drive, get people to feel like they're buying into our brand without having to really sell them any quality engineering.
But still, like
how do they bring the whimsy? Oh, the whimsy.
Right, E63 MG. That's not going to be a whimsical vehicle.
Right.
But right now they're getting so fast. It's all-wheel drive. It's got 600 whatever horsepower. We're at the limits of tire technology. I mean, unless they start taking weight out, which will then add speed, which we don't need. That's the only thing they can really do. And then you kind of you add more noise. I mean, all this stuff. It's very challenging.
The Super Saloon will continue to be
bonkers fast.
More speed and less sensation. I mean, it'll just that's the only path for those types of cars. But all hope is not lost. The GR Yaris is coming.
Yeah.
You know?
I'm excited for the new BRZ too.
Sure.
I want to drive that thing.
I watched Kamisa's
his deep dive.
Is it tomorrow? Is he on tomorrow?
He's going to be on Saturday.
Oh, Saturday.
Right. A couple days.
I thought it was Friday.
Yeah.
Oh boy, where's my fucking my days of the week are gone. Kamisa will be talking about the new BRZ on Jesus.
The Litchfield incident. What happened with Litchfield?
Chris tweeted that an influencer who was not named approached Litchfield with a proposal that they had a GR Yaris and that Litchfield should pay them $25,000 plus commission. And what Chris wrote was for the privilege of putting their suspension on his GR Yaris. And so, look, in my opinion, if an influencer of any level is going to approach a brand with and wants something from them, maybe it's suspension for your Yaris, I would approach with some humility.
Yeah.
And say, hey, I really like your product. I have a car that would work for your product, and I have an audience, and is there something you'd like to do? And I suspect that because the tuner company was miffed enough about it to tell Chris Harris that it wasn't done in the most humble of ways. Mm-hmm. I don't know who the fucking influencer was. I'm not sure. And I don't really care. So that was it. And Freddie Hernandez, who is a capitalist, pure as can be, and who is he found that to be not a problem. That it's a business arrangement. If there's that much value in what this person brings, then why shouldn't they be doing this sort of thing? And my response to that was that it's just kind of douchey. Like that's really all. It's just that it's kind of douchey. Mm-hmm. And if the person is really any of the people that I think it might be, they have plenty of money to be, and also the amount of money is extraordinary.
Yeah.
For any tuner. The idea that, like, I've worked with enough tuner companies in my life. The one thing I know about them is they don't have any money. They'll give you parts. You want parts? If it's worthwhile for them, they'll hook you up with parts. Maybe they'll hook you up with install as well, right? Because they have labor and they have a shop. Yeah. And installing their own parts is no big deal. And you can get content of that. Okay, that's a nice arrangement. If you bring so much value to the equation that they're really going to sell that many, something tells me you wouldn't need to be asking for it. And if you're comfortable enough asking for that much from a shop, a tuner shop, you don't need it. You definitely have enough money to just buy your goddamn shocks or whatever they are. So that was my opinion. My opinion is that presumably it was asked, this was proposed not in the most polite and humble of ways, because obviously this person was annoyed enough to tell Chris Harris about it. He was offended enough to fucking tweet it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So presumably this was not done in really a B2B proposal sort of way.
Because it could have been approached, like an athlete approaching a company, like, here's what I'm thinking, I'll do this, you do this. I have this much reach, et cetera, but it has to be done like as a business proposal.
Right. And even if you presented a big number and justified such a number, you could do that without it offending multiple levels of people.
Yeah.
I happen to think Chris Harris is a pretty good judge of character.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree.
He's an imperfect human just like myself, but I happen to think he's a pretty good judge of character. So if it made it far enough to him and he was offended by it, and he also knows how the system works, that a small company, even a small company like a Litchfield, which may have global recognition, I can almost assure you does not have the type of finances and would not have the type of finances to participate in it. But that being said, that was my opinion, that it seemed douchey.
Shmi's manager put out a very interesting quote.
Uh-huh.
He said, "It is not Shmee 150. We would never ask such a thing."
Okay.
This is all in quotes, right? He says, "What James has done here is a disgrace to our community. First, he steals the idea of our successful RS project. Then he sees our Yaris project and decides he can ask this kind of money at our friends at Litchfield, UK."
Oh, James?
He says James. I don't know who James is.
James Walker, JWW. Maybe it is.
Maybe.
I don't know. Well, I like James Walker. He's been on the show. I liked him. He was very nice. And his shit is 100% branding. It's shame he said that straight up when he was here, but still, that's a lot. And I hope it didn't come off like that. I don't know. I didn't really think about this beyond 3 tweets, to be perfectly honest with you. I didn't expect this to be a topic of discussion today, but all right. Well, there's your thoughts for the record. It's kind of douchey, in my opinion. There you go. Jensen is going to buy a 1970s Mercedes 280 SE. Advice on insurance company as far as Haggerty we use Haggerty. Like I don't know what other companies are out there doing agreed value. Frankly, I'm doing a show on Haggerty. My cars are insured with Haggerty, and my business is insured with Haggerty. Mm-hmm. I don't have a lot of other options to give you, but I've had good luck with Haggerty. Casey Nielsen wants to know what is my favorite K car. I'm an AutoZam man myself.
They're really cool.
The AZ1 is the shit.
They're really cool.
It is the shit. I like the Cappuccino and I like the Beat. They're both like little 2/3 scale Miatas, which is cool. And if I see one on the street, I will smile. But if you're gonna go silly, go maximum silly. AZ1 for me. Anything else? Oh, Sean wants to know if I've driven a 60s or 70s era NASCAR race car. No.
Oh,
do you have one? That sounds fun.
Talk about a death trap.
That sounds sketchy. I drove Musto's Daytona. That's about as close as I've gotten. I know it's not close.
His car is going somewhere to get redone and get
Hellcat engine.
Yeah, Hellcat engine Daytona. Mm-hmm. That is going to be so dangerous and great.
That will be fabulous. Alligator window tint wants us to clip the Tesla bit. More people need to hear this truth. All right. I don't know. Maybe. Is it? I don't know if it's truth. It's my opinion. I don't know if it's truth. And a lot of my opinion is based on just feeling that fucking someone's getting scammed. The shit's not right. That's all. That's all it's like based on, and a basic financial understanding and a lot of conversations with my father, who's one of the smartest traditional investors that I know.
Yeah, he is.
He and all of his friends. Smart. I don't agree with them on a lot of things. They're not all super right wing. That's not where I'm going, but some of them are. But not my dad. But when I asked all of them in a room together, my dad's like the poorest one of these guys. I asked all of them, explain to me, what am I missing? What? And they're all like, Ponzi scheme. They're all like, just stay away, Ponzi scheme. So, and these are some smart people, very, very smart people. So if they know, I can barely do my taxes. All I know is just and someone pointed out on Twitter earlier today that someone, what was the word? The opportunity cost of not following the Piper is high. That's what they said. You know what I mean? I know it's bullshit, but the opportunity cost of not. But look how much money I'm making following the fucking Piper.
Yeah.
Goes back to the problem. Financially incentive to fucking be an ostrich there.
We're also in an era, the last 20 years, but more like the last 5, where, technology companies, Amazon was not profitable for like a decade, and it's just promises and business cases, and eventually it works out. And now we're in this place where it's just like valuations are insane. Yeah. Everything is, I think back when your dad and his friends, like the profit to earnings ratio people liked, they're like 28's kind of high. Yeah. And now we're seeing 50, 100, 200, and it's just like, it'll work out eventually.
Yeah, because it worked out for Amazon. It must work out for fucking everybody, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm saying like Tesla is a very weird thing to look at, but it's also a real sign of the times, I think.
Yeah, I don't like the times.
Yeah.
I don't like the times, and it's not like because I don't like seeing some fucking dudes on Reddit fucking take it to some hedge funds. Like, that's fun to me. I like watching that shit show, but like, I don't know. It seems like when the valuation divorced from the productivity
Yeah.
and the financial reward for ignoring the productivity is so high. It's a really bad place to be.
Yeah.
It's just the longer we bury our head in the sand and ignore every bad thing about this and only selectively report good things to keep everyone getting richer, the longer the fucking train goes. And it's like you're just spinning more and more bullshit.
Right.
Sooner or later, anyway. Tony. Oh, hi, Tony. Tony's great. Coming down to L.A. and wants to know what the best menu items are at Bill's. Dude, the best menu items at Bill's. My breakfast sandwich. Matt Farah's breakfast sandwich on an everything bagel if you get there before 11 a.m. Because Bill, don't even try to ask that motherfucker to make you eggs after 11 a.m.
I think 10:30. No, for real.
Yeah.
10:30 breakfast is done.
Okay.
They take all the things away.
Yeah, once breakfast is over, don't ask for my sandwich. Don't even try. There's a sandwich they make called the Treadmill that's very good. Mm-hmm. It's on the healthier side. It's got chicken and avocado, and it's very tasty. I'm also 100% about their tuna salad. I'm also 100% about their egg salad, but you have to be very confident to eat egg salad because it's a messy sandwich. But Tony mentioned the meatloaf. If you fucked with the meatloaf, that's the messiest thing he makes. And if you've gotten through a meatloaf, then you can get through the egg salad. There you go. Bill also has 4 different types of truffle potato chips.
And lots of cookies.
Bill also, cookies. That's true. His baked goods, because like sandwiches are great, but the baked goods, Bill actually bakes them himself. He's a very, very good baker. I recommend the corn muffin grilled in butter, like on the grill, New York deli style.
Man knows food. He knows food.
Dank. You know what's the funniest thing about Bill? Doesn't eat meat. He makes all that dank shit, doesn't eat meat.
But he definitely understands flavor.
He ate meat in the past and remembered how to do it.
Yes, I mean, you kind of remember. You put a couple years in. It's like a bicycle.
Yeah. See you soon, Tony. I'll have your car washed for you. He's a client. Ego Boosts has a 2.7-liter V6 EcoBoost F-150. We'll be getting the same engine in the Bronco. Do either of us have comments on the 2.3 i4 or the 2.7 in the Bronco? So we haven't driven Bronco, but I've driven the 2.3 in the Ranger with the 10-speed. Hated it.
Yeah.
Hated it.
It's fine. It
was fine, but fine leaning towards terrible. More terrible than fine.
Yeah.
Especially with the 10-speed automatic, because it was fucking a new gear every 3 seconds.
Right.
The 2.7, remember the truck in all cars?
Yes, I do. F-150.
Yeah.
That's a good engine.
Don't sleep on the 2.7. The 2.7 twin turbo is good.
Yeah.
I would definitely be getting that in a Bronco.
Yeah, that's a solid, quick, powerful engine.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I like that engine a lot. That F-150 we had is fast.
And something to remember for everybody is if you get the smaller engine in a vehicle that might be too heavy for it, you're going to be in the pedal a lot, so your gas mileage will probably not replicate what the EPA reports because you're just gonna dip into it more.
Yeah.
If you're in boost and all that stuff, like your gas will go just away so quickly.
Totally.
So something to think about.
Yeah, I've gotten really bad mileage in small engine turbo cars.
Yeah.
Sometimes. Anything else? We're really going. This is old school. B. Vang wants to know if the 2.3 turbo motor in the Mazda Speed 6 is the same as the 2.3 Ford EcoBoost. It's not exactly the same, but I do think they're related. I'm pretty sure they're related. I don't remember because this came up when they were developing the Focus RS. People were all like, "Oh, it's just the Mazda." The difference between the Mazda 2.3 and the Focus 2.3. There is a big... What's that one right there? FocusFanatics.com. Oh, that's old. That's too old.
These are 2005.
Both in... okay. Not at all related. That's a recent post. 2015. Not at all related.
Okay.
I think not related. I think it's coincident that they're the same. I'll tell you what. I've driven a Mazda Speed 6. They don't feel remotely alike.
No.
They feel like completely different engines.
Yeah.
So whatever that forum was right there said not related. Auburn Vans says the best watches are ones you can wear 24/7 and not worry about. But what about sexy time? Keep on your wrist to avoid being stolen? Use it to time yourself? Well, first off, I'm going to take the third part last, Bob. Use it to time yourself? Absolutely. I use a split seconds chronograph to time myself. Measures to 1/100th of a second, which is all I need. And, all right, fine. That was a joke.
Why are you concerned about your watch being stolen?
Well, that's the other one. Are you concerned about it being stolen?
Are you concerned about it, Auburn?
Well, if you're going to, let's just say Las Vegas. Hypothetically, you're going to Las Vegas.
Nevada, yeah.
Or really anywhere that's a Vegas-like destination, and you meet anybody locally, whether it is, let's just say free or not free, you don't take that motherfucker off. Not for a second. I mean, the number of stories that I have heard from people who have had watches, ganked from nightstands, ganked from pockets of pants. Someone told me a story about a girl was fucking sucking his dick and reached into his pants, which were around his ankles, and took shit out from his pants.
Wow.
Yeah. So if you're like hooking up, you don't take your watch off for nothing. No, sir.
Yikes.
Yeah. I take my watch off before I go to bed.
Right, because you're married.
Yes.
Yeah.
My wife can't steal things. She can, but she chooses not to.
Right, she has a job. Man.
Yeah, no. There you go. But
really
also I time myself.
That's why there's safes in the hotel rooms.
Yeah, man. I don't even trust that motherfucker. I wouldn't take my watch off. When I travel with a watch. I pretty much keep my watch on all the time if I'm traveling. David Leong says, what happens to late 90s and 2000 sports cars with these single clutch autos? Does anyone make a retrofit dual clutch that would make those viable? I see a cottage industry of manual conversions developing. I think there is opportunity there. It would be expensive, but some of those single clutch cars are really bad.
Yeah.
I mean, Aston Martin is doing it, and they're making money. I could see that process being brought in-house. I could see Ferrari Classic Center possibly, although Ferrari would never admit that even their single clutch transmission was like not perfect.
I mean,
they'd be like, no, what's wrong with it? You'd be like, oh, it's terrible. And they'll be like, no, it's not. It's perfect.
I mean, just E46 M3s. Like, if a manual sells for several $1,000s more than the single clutch. So if you could buy that and swap it out, and just offer people to do that, I think you can do that with a lot of cars. Yeah, but swapping into dual clutch, I mean, there's a lot of computing that's happening with transmissions and ECUs. I think it'd be really hard to marry a 2002, motor to a 2014 dual clutch. Right,
and a lot of the single clutch cars came as manual also, even in limited editions. Yeah. So you could either use factory parts or you could reverse engineer it and make factory spec-ish replacements, whereas it's very rare that a car went from a single clutch to a dual clutch without any other changes.
Right.
So you couldn't just plop it in.
I don't think it'd be very desirable too, because people like us, we're looking for manual transmission cars because that's a shrinking industry. Right. There's plenty of automatics to choose from.
Correct.
Yeah.
Wesley says, I'm watching The Sopranos for the first time. Favorite person and car combinations from the show. I fucking love The Sopranos. If you haven't watched The Sopranos, where have you been? Get over to HBO. Just start. I mean, even the first episode where Tony runs over the guy with Chrissy's Lexus.
Oh, yeah.
LS 400 in the first episode of the show. I like Johnny Sack's Maserati that Chrissy takes at the end. I hope this doesn't spoil it for you. Chrissy takes Johnny Sack's Maserati at the end. Chrissy had a couple of interesting cars because he at one point drove he drove a Range Rover, he had an Escalade, he had a couple different Lexuses, but then his car got jacked. He got fucking carjacked, and he was driving like a Bonneville for a couple of episodes.
I like the Bonneville, man. I'm into it.
There's a lot of Cadillac DTSs. Silvio and Vito had DTSs. No one had anything really good. I liked the hot Mercedes sales lady who drove. She was only ever talking, whenever referring to Mercedes, she would only refer to 600s. I'm going to take out a new 600. I'll come over in the 600. It was only 600. Everything was a 600 for her. It was great. The Sopranos was awesome. And I liked when Tony took the guy's car. Some guy owed Tony money, and he took his son's car and gave it to AJ. All of a sudden, AJ's kid drives up in school in like his friend's car.
That's amazing. Oh, that's fucked up.
Yeah, super fucked up.
We have a few more people. No more questions, though, guys. We're going to burn through these.
Yeah.
Sheeply
Ferrari, TJ wants to know Zach's first Ferrari.
I mean, if I could afford it, F430 Scud, and then it'd be done.
There it is.
Do that.
Auburn Vans. Oh, in 93, too short. Beds sewn clean. Don't roll, just fly away. What is the first 90s Benz that you see? I mean, I'm thinking Too Short was talking about a big body S600 coupe. Or it would have been a C. It might have been a C. Yeah, it would have been an S600 coupe at that time, I think. Maybe an SL. Do I have any stories about the owner of Harrods? No, I don't really know the owner of Harrods. My dad met him once. I don't know the owner of Harrods, I'm sorry to say. I know that fucking the Habibis park their supercars in front of Harrods when they go shopping. That's the
department.
department.
They sponsor Justin Bell, his McLaren?
Probably.
His dad, I think they sponsored that. Yeah.
Dodi Al-Fayed, Muhammad Al-Fayed. Yeah. Amit Patel says, my next car will be used for road trips and track days. I prefer a manual, rear or all-wheel drive, factory warranty, and a real trunk. M3, M4, Shelby GT350, non-R, and Golf R. High on my list. Can't be M3 or M4, sorry. 35K to 70K. I mean, a lot of options here.
Yeah.
All the 997 Porsches, except turbos, pretty much. Carrera S's.
Yeah, they're pretty good.
Are on the list. They have the Frunks are nice. Frunk plus back seat. That's decent
true.
cargo.
It is.
Let's see.
Corvette's always available.
Corvettes. Oh my God, $70,000 gets you so much Corvette.
So much C7.
Lots
good road
of
trip
C7.
Car too. Really good.
Yeah, those are great on road trips. Golf R is a great one. I mean, 35 is Audi RS3 or Audi TTRS.
Ooh.
No one thinks
RS3.
about the TTRS. The RS3 is probably
RS3.
better. Yeah, I would Audi RS3. That's a good road trip car. And you can fucking
mod the fuck out of those things.
So much power.
Holy shit.
So much power, still pretty reliable.
Yeah,
it's a
good
stout
chassis,
motor.
Real fast.
Yeah.
That is a murderous vehicle.
RS3 really might be it. If you're interested in a Golf R, but you have $70,000, you really want an RS3.
Yeah.
They're like 65.
Yeah, they're really good.
That's the shit. It's because it's not the same as Golf R. The 5-cylinder takes it to another level.
Yeah, it does.
Because a Golf R is kind of like the upper limit of that 2-liter, and then the 2.5 is like all way beyond that from the factory. Can't anything else? Let's see. S70K. Can you? I don't think you can get into a C63 for that much.
I don't know.
And I wouldn't know. No. Lexus GSF. It's a sedan.
Not a manual, though.
Oh, not a manual.
Yeah. That's a great car for everything except being a manual transmission.
Yeah. I don't know. Corvettes would be high on my list.
I mean, look, you have an RS3, you have a sedan option, you have a wagon option, you have a coupe
RS3s
option.
are not stick, are they? I think they're all DCT.
Oh, that's so good.
Golf R might be the fastest Volkswagen stick you can get.
The Golf R is a hard car to argue.
911, 70K will get you into a 991 Porsche. 991 Carrera or Carrera S for
That's
70K.
a really good car.
Yeah, and plenty of trunk space. Andrew Xanthos, best driving road in the Hudson Valley, Fairfield County. The roads that run north and south off of I-84 in between 684 and the Taconic. There's a bunch of them. It's like 301, 311, 292. And then when you're tired of those, Bear Mountain area, the road they call the Goat Trail, which leads to the Bear Mountain Bridge, and then the roads on the other side by Bear Mountain. I mean, those really are, they really are the best. Let's see. Christian Byrne, any stories about the Brunei collection?
I haven't been there.
I've never been there. Are we supposed to have, is there news? Is it in the news or something?
Did it get sold?
I don't know. I mean, I know it was crazy. I've never been. I have a kind of, is it embarrassing that I don't actually know where Brunei is? I
want to say yes, but I don't know either.
I mean, the world's a big place. And I feel like I've heard the Sultan of Brunei a million times.
Tiny nation island.
Where is Brunei? I'm sorry, this is kind of embarrassing. I'd like to think of myself as relatively
tiny
educated.
nation on the island of Borneo.
It's within Borneo?
Yeah.
What? Get the fuck out of here. Oh, it's like Borneo's Swaziland? Oh, wow,
it's
it really
Borneo.
is.
I think it's like Borneo's, well, I was going to say Monaco. I don't really know, but
yeah,
based on
it
the
looks
car collection,
little as
probably.
fuck. Wow. Okay, and it looks like half of it is forest reserve.
A lot of rainforest, half of it's protected.
Oh, how interesting. Okay, now you know. Okay.
Interesting.
It's on the island of Borneo in 2 distinct sections surrounded by only such. Okay. 29 golden domes. Wow. All right. Yeah, I'd like to check that out at some point. That seems kind of cool.
The car collection's amazing. I mean, there's a couple walkthrough videos on YouTube.
All right. Is that us? Oh, shit, there's more.
People keep asking questions.
Brad says, the wife wants a new daily with a budget of $45K. We're looking at used Macans and SQ5s. All roads, worried about maintenance costs. You should be. Secondhand, mid-level German cars. Oof. That is going to be ripe for this costs more money than it's worth to drive.
Yes.
The more special the German car, the more those annoying maintenance costs are worthwhile.
Yeah, they're at the front of technology for a reason.
45K.
Acura RDX.
Acura RDX.
Used RDX.
Or
That's
new.
a pretty nice car.
New
Or a
RDX.
new one.
I think you can get 45 is a tough number because it's like the upper limit of like Honda CRVs, right? And kind of like can't quite get into the Germans yet. What's a Highlander go for?
But if you're buying a used one, like get a used RX 300, get a used Lexus, I'd go with one of those. Just don't reach to a German crossover.
I mean, 45K will get you like a new Jeep Grand Cherokee, won't it?
Yeah.
I might rather have a brand new Ford Edge Sport or Jeep Grand Cherokee than a 3 or 4 year old Macan or Q5.
I'd rather have the Jeep for sure.
Yeah.
And I think it looks pretty nice inside out, even though the interior is like aging a bit. But yeah, I would do that. Or I would
Highlander.
If you're gonna keep it for long, how long are you gonna keep it? That's the question. You 2 years, okay, you can have a little bit of fun. If you're gonna keep this thing for 8 years, buy a Japanese car.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Bijan says, is there any reason why someone would buy a 2002 to 2012 G-Wagon instead of a 2013 to 2018?
Yeah, it's called money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The G-Wagon rule is the same pretty much as the Corvette rule. With the Corvette rule, and people ask me about Corvettes all the time, the rule is you buy a 1963 to 1969, or you buy the newest, fastest, most modern one you can afford. That's it. That's just the rule. Anything else is entirely limited by your budget. Same thing with a G-Wagon. You're either buying a 6-cylinder soft top for $193,000, and Doug will go to bat for you until the day he dies.
So good.
Because of the same false feedback fucking loop that Tesla has. You're either buying a soft top, gray market import or whatever, or just buy the nicest, newest one you can afford. Or maybe don't buy a G-Wagon unless it's the newest one.
Last question.
Okay. Jonathan wants to know, if you're in a modern car, how do you fight the urge to continually buy or lease new cars? Mods or give up and keep buying leasing? Do a project car? You're asking the guy with 4 fucking cars right now that are all old and weird? I mean, I would say the easiest thing to do is, if you are worried about the car remaining interesting, you can either get yourself a regular ass daily that you don't do anything with, and a weekend car that you tinker with and modify. Totally acceptable course of action. Or you get yourself a daily and modify it in a way that won't fuck your warranty up. Like, you can do a lot of things to a daily driver car that won't mess up your warranty.
Yeah, basically a lot of them, if you don't touch the drivetrain.
Yeah,
you know, you can do suspension, you can do brakes. You can
Must
do
still
lots
put
of
a
stuff.
cage in his car.
Yeah,
and the warranty was kosher.
It covers your powertrain warranty because you haven't modified it at all.
Yeah, so if you're willing to get a car where you're satisfied with the powertrain, or the powertrain is the kind of powertrain where modding it isn't worthwhile, like hypothetically, this may be substantially out of your budget, but let's just say a 911. 911 Carrera S, right? A Carrera S, naturally aspirated Carrera S, a couple years old. Getting more power out of that engine is in the 4 figures at a minimum and diminishing returns, right? But what can you do? You can do lightweight wheels and tires. You can upgrade the brakes. You can put JRZ shocks, and you can drastically improve the performance of that car and make it your own and more interesting without fucking up, a warranty.
Right.
So those are what I would recommend.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think people just they chase the Joneses too much. So if you're into new cars to be into new cars, I don't know. For me, I see that we're in a ceiling for technology for a bit. Like you got radar cruise, you got all this blind spot stuff. The one from 2 years from now is not going to be that much different for a while.
Right.
So,
and also I like driving these new supercars and stuff that I get to drive, but like, man, if I was always buying new, the newest, oh my God, the new one's out with 50 more horsepower. Like, oh, I got to get that one. Like, oh my God, it'd be so bad. Yeah. So I've exited that system by just buying cars that are. You know what I mean? Even like though the 911 is like modified, like with my other cars, like there's no need to modify. It's an experience. Right. It just is. So
yeah, that's the separation. If you're looking for the experience to stay fresh, get something that's not your daily, and then it stays fresher. But if you're just chasing that all the time, then you're always going to want a new car. Right.
And oh boy, what's an S13 hatch?
240SX.
Oh, a 240SX hatch. Or an STI swapped GC8. What's the better driver's car? I mean,
that depends on a lot.
Yeah, it depends on what kind of driving you want to do, and I mean either is perfectly analog and communicative. I mean, the 240 will have better steering, but the Subaru will have better grip
and be faster. The engine in the S13 is swapped. There's a lot of stuff there.
Both of those are excellent driver's cars. I would not be able to definitively say one is better than the other.
Yeah,
but they'd both be good. Last one, and then we're really out of here. Bonus question: what old school quote racer mod is going to come back? Their words, not mine. People, don't fucking bury me on Twitter for quoting somebody. Either aesthetic or power. This person bets Street Glow.
Street Glow's already back, man. Have you seen SEMA? Like there are lights in wheel wells, under cars, mostly in trucks.
It's LEDs now. It used to be neon tubes.
Right.
Now it's LEDs.
Same thing, but it's all over trucks.
What mods are coming back? I haven't really seen any. What I am seeing is the appreciation of period mods in collectible period tuner cars. So you see it first with Skyline Market, but you see it with other brands as well. Brands, if you buy a car that's got period HRE wheels and period HKS parts, really parts that were known for being very high quality in period, I think that will add collectability to a car. I'm not sure if we're going to see trends.
I bet we see the return of the Fast and Furious style vinyl. With the rocket guys on the side, the graphics, because we have the 80s and 90s getting more popular, which had lots of graphics because the cars were slow. And then you have the vinyl wrap technology we have, which we're kind of already there, but I think you'll just see more people with crazy cartoons on the side of their cars. That's what I'm going with.
All right. And that's what we're going to end on.
All right.
Zach thinks cartoons.
I think cartoons.
It's all good. Thank everybody for joining us and bringing your questions with you on this Wednesday.
It's Wednesday.
By the end of the show, I swear to God, we're going to figure out what day it is this motherfucker.
It's Wednesday. Yeah.
For the live people, we'll be back on Friday. Our friend Misha Mansour, guitarist for the band Periphery and sports car enthusiast and watch enthusiast. He's an ambassador for Crown and Caliber now. Good for him. Killing the game. Yeah. And then he'll be in on Friday. Sorry. And then Camisa.
Camisa on Saturday. He'll be calling in.
Yes. And coming soon, my new show on Haggerty's channel. It's going to be called Modified. It's about tuner cars. We're filming it starting next week. Very exciting. Yay film crews. Yay permits.
Yeah.
Yay insurance.
Permitted road.
I haven't done we did sorted, but even that, I haven't done real production in a minute, so this will be fun. Where we actually write the show out, which I'm happy to be doing that. Shout out to our to Brainerd, our watch sponsor. They're sending me a new demo that we can try out for the month. I don't know what it is. I just have a tracking number.
Cool.
But that's very exciting. And guess what? I just found out on Tuesday I get to drive the Bugatti Chiron Pure Sport.
I saw it on the calendar.
Yeah, I'm driving for 90 minutes.
Oh my God.
Better than zero.
Amazing.
It'll be fun.
Amazing.
I saw it drive by in Beverly Hills today. Not yesterday when I dropped off the van. It's a very cool color, and it sounded mean as fuck.
Wow.
Yeah, it sounded beastie.
I think it has the best interior of the last 50 years.
It's real cool. Ooh, yeah, it's real cool.
Really good.
It was very gurgly.
Yeah,
it's
amazing.
That's what it sounds like when it goes by.
Yeah, because it's just moving air.
Yeah. All right, kids. That's our show.
Wait, selfish plug. Go watch Rated on Haggerty.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
my show on Haggerty. Go watch
That's
that.
Zack's show.
Me and Lee Keene driving cars and arguing. And then, I mean, they just have a new episode came out with Kevin Mattson and Rob Holland.
Oh, really?
Driving a TRX and jumping it through the air.
Oh, fun.
So it's basically a journalist and a race car driver drive the same car and then argue
That's a
about
race
it.
car driver and a race car driver.
It is. In that case, it's two race car drivers and one is being a journalist.
Great. Check out Rated on Haggerty. That's our show. Good night, everybody. Have a great day.